Hello everyone, this is Highlander from MTG Cardsmith doing another custom Magic the Gathering card review, and with me today is my special guest, Islandsnake.
Hey everybody.
And we are reviewing a card by ShadowReign. This is a another new Cardsmith to our channel. My channel. Our channel, whatever.
Ooh,
Don't
coming
get
up in
any
the world.
don't get any ideas. Uh, okay, and let's see what we got here. So this is a card called Conjure Into Existence. This is 5 mana. Nice StarCraft sound. 5 mana for an instant, mythic. Search your library for a black card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle. Purge 3. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then exile any number of them face down. Put the rest on top of your library in any order. Okay. So, okay, let's read the flavor text. Exist, forsake the undesired, and forever prosper. I like the flavor text. That's a nice flavor text.
Yeah, I like it. And this art is nice too. Is this like from another Magic card? I think it
No,
matches.
I don't. I don't think so. But yeah, this is why I always harp on art so much, because when art works for you, it really works for you, right? Like people like your card more. Like I like this card more because of the art. It's great. I love purple. There's a lot of purple in this card. I'm a big fan of purple. Um, okay, so
So
let's. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
Purge 3. Let's talk about that.
Mhm.
I'm assuming you can choose to play this card and just do the top effect only, right? Or is Purge 3 a thing
Well,
that happens when you play this card?
you always have to purge 3,
Okay.
but you don't have to put any of them in exile. So you look at the top 3 cards of your library. You can exile any number of them face down, and you put the rest on top of your library in any order. So it's a little bit like a scry. In do you know what scry is? Do you know how it works?
Yeah, it's like you look at your cards and then put them back on top of your
Or
library
or on the bottom.
or on the bottom.
Yeah.
The
So
weird thing about this is that is this a mechanic where like you can be forced to exile a card face up? Like is that a weird part of this card where it's like you can exile any number of them face down, so it's like your opponent doesn't get to see what you're exiling?
yeah. So
Is that standard? Or I don't
not
think I've ever
not
seen it like
not
that.
usually. I mean, there are cards that exile cards face down. It's not unheard of.
Okay.
Usually, if a card just says like exile a card, it'll be face up. Um, but so I'm guessing here's my guess, and I'm not gonna actually use this towards the rating, but my guess is that because this is a keyworded mechanic, I'm assuming there are this is part of like some set, or this is a mechanic that will get reused somewhere, and somewhere you'll be able to interact with these exiled cards face down. I'm
Okay.
I'm, I'm guessing that's the case. Because otherwise, I don't really see why you would exile them face down. Like if this is just scry except you're exiling cards, first of all, that would like why, and second of all, like why make them face down? So
So the
I'm guessing that there's some way to like interact with the purge cards in some
so
way.
this seems like a powerful card though, otherwise.
Well, okay, so
It is expensive, but you get to go fetch a black card and put it. Oh, you have to reveal it, but I mean
well,
that's not a big
yeah.
deal.
So I don't know how good this card is. I mean, the thing is, so there's a okay. So let's compare, and there's actually quite a few differences from this card. So okay, so there's Demonic Tutor, which is a broken version of this card, or which is so Demonic Tutor is a card that they'll like never reprint in like a standard set because it's way too cheap for what it does. It's 2 mana to search your library for any card put in your hand, right? They're not going to print this again. This is like too cheap. Okay. And then there's like the cards that they print nowadays, which I think
Or too expensive.
well they passed Grim, actually Grim Tutor was like the last one they put in standard, and nobody played it. It was 3 mana for a sorcery, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, shuffle, and then you lose 3 life.
I'm surprised that it's not a
Yeah,
strong card.
I'm surprised that people didn't end up playing this card, but I think that has more to say about the standard environment. It's just like standard's not so much in a place where like because okay, so the decks where these tend to be really good in is like combo decks, or decks where you're trying to assemble multiple cards and you need like
Yeah.
a piece of the combo.
I need
Um,
Voltron's head.
yeah, exactly, and you don't tend to see that so much in standard. Now like this card I think is cheap enough that you would probably play it.
Oh, I think people will
In
play that card in
I
a
don't think you would
second.
play it in every deck, but you would certainly play it in more decks. This one, I mean, people just didn't play it. I think just because of the standard environment. But I think, what is it? Diabolic Tutor. Let's just look for Tutor. Here we go. Yeah, Diabolic Tutor. I must have misspelled it. So okay, so this is sort of more how they tend to do this card nowadays, which is they make it bad. They make it 4 mana sorcery, search your library for a card and put it in your hand, right? Then shuffle. So so this is kind of a bad version, and we saw Grim Tutor, which is sort of like an in-between version, but it didn't see any play in standard. I don't people probably play in Commander. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, Commander, I think you play lots of tutors, so but let's compare it to this card. So this one costs 4, and it's a sorcery, and you get to put any card in your hand, okay? This one, it costs 5. It's an instant, and you only get to put a black card in your hand, not any card. But then it has Purge 3, which is... So it's like... It's more expensive. It's more restrictive on the card you can get. But it's instant speed, which is a big deal, I think. And you get this sort of scry effect, essentially. So, power level-wise, it's actually pretty hard to rate this card. I would generally say that 5 mana for a tutor is not good. It's like it's like you wouldn't generally play it. But the fact that it's instant actually makes a really big difference. Because it means that like you can play this in a control deck, for example,
Yeah.
and just like leave up like counterspell mana, and if your opponent does something, you counter it. And if they don't do anything, you just play this and you go get any black card in your deck. So like you go get your win condition or something like that, right? And then on top of that, you get to essentially scry 3. Again, because I don't know if you can... I'm assuming you can interact with these purge cards, but because this card does not, I'm not going to incorporate that into the rating. So I'm just going to assume this is basically a scry 3, which is
Okay.
scry 3 is good. I mean, scry 3 is like close to drawing a card essentially. So this is pretty close to like getting 2 cards. One of them has to be black. Yeah, I mean,
it seems like it's at least like a little bit better than the 4-drop one.
it's definitely better than
Because
the 4-drop one. I agree.
the only thing I would
Yep.
say is that like I mean I don't know how like if you feel the same way, but whenever I see a card like this that's like an instant, I think well it would be nice to be able to like instant this to like save myself, but at 5 cost like the card I'm getting into my hand all of a sudden is not going to. It needs to be for me to be able to play in the same turn. I need to have like a lot of mana.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that's true, but I think that's actually okay. Like I think a card that you could like instant speed to like just get any answer in your deck is like for like a problem now I think is just too much. I think it's just
mm,
not like it's just not really a good design. But this one I actually kind of like this card. Like it's kind of taking the tutoring aspect and like making it kind of interesting. Um,
yeah,
because like okay, so Diabolic Tutor is like bad. You never play it because it's like 4 mana sorcery, and like that's just a lot. Like it basically this one, because it's instant, turns it into a kind of a different type of card. It's less about like finding some like combo piece that you need because it's so expensive, and it's actually more of like a value card, which is kind of cool. I think because it's like again, like I said, you can play this like at the end of your turn and get a card. Um,
yeah, that's
but
true.
but really only if your opponent like
Well,
um,
let's cost. I don't know if you actually want to do this, but like, what if we cost out like what's Scry 3 worth? You think mana cost wise?
well, I don't know. Let's see if we can find the cheapest Scry 3 card.
I'm assuming it would be like a blue card, right?
We're
I
gonna
think
look for Scry 3, and we're gonna sort by
there's that owl.
there's that owl mana value.
Scry 3 for 2.
Uh, do,
Holy,
do, 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 do.
that owl's angry. Oh no, it's
So
angry. I'm like,
here's a 1 mana Scry 3
okay,
with
so
Scry
it's not
back.
like a,
But
so it's not,
this isn't a really old card though.
yeah.
This one's Scry 2 for 1, and you can sacrifice it to draw 2 cards. I mean, Scry 3 is quite strong. I think it's pretty close to drawing a card, I would say. Like,
But it's at least worth 1 mana.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. At least.
Okay. So we can... So at... You know, at the... In the least, it's at least as good as the 4-drop one, kind of. Because, like... Yeah, it's more limiting, but it's an instant, so it's probably at least... So I don't think it's overcosted, I guess.
No, I don't think so either. And I actually like the cost. Like I like this card. I think it's cool because it sort of takes the tutoring aspect of things and like turns it away from like, you know, this is a way to assemble my combo into like, this is basically like a nice control card that you can play like one of in your deck, where it's like, okay, like, so you don't want a lot of these because they're so expensive, but like you put like one of these in your deck and, you know, it basically means like your opponent like plays something and you in your deck, you could have like a toolbox of different black cards that help you deal with whatever they play, you know? And so this is like a second copy of like any of those toolbox cards and it lets you go find it. So it's like, yeah, so it's like, okay, imagine like you're playing a control deck and you're like leaving up counter mana and they play, what is it? Sigarda? Let's see, Sigarda. Is this the one that can't be? No, sorry, that's wrong. Let's just say they play a card that like can't be countered.
Now, is it like a cardinal sin for
like
a card to let you search the deck in the graveyard?
Does this one say graveyard?
Well, what I'm saying is that like, would that be pushing it too much?
No, some cards do that.
Okay, I was just curious.
Yeah, so okay, so like let's say they play like a Carnage Tyrant, for example, and this is historically a bad a card that's difficult for control decks to deal with, right? It can't be countered and you can't target it with anything. So you're like holding
That's
up
my
counter...
kind of card right there.
Yeah. There's definitely certain players that love this type of card, but so like let's say you're playing a control deck, your opponent plays a Carnage Tyrant while you have like counter mana up, and you're like, oh crap, that card's gonna kill me. But you have this card, so end of turn you cast this. And you go get like a Damnation or a card that makes them sacrifice a creature, like something they can actually deal with a Carnage Tyrant. And on top of that, you get to like Scry 3. I mean, that's pretty strong. Like that's good value, I think. And this is of course a mythic. But again, like I'll just reiterate, I like the fact that this kind of turns the tutor on its head, where it's like, no, this isn't really like a combo card. It's just like a value card. I think that's cool.
I really like this card.
Yeah, me too.
I think a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah,
like the flavor is cool, the art's cool, like the flavor, like it all comes together. I think.
I agree. I mean, I agree. I think I want to give this one a 5 out of 5 too. I think if I had to nitpick, my only nitpick would be that I don't like without seeing like the rest of the cards that do purge stuff. That I would rather just say Scry 3, because. I mean, it's basically the same thing on this card in particular. Like, there's no reason to make this purge. But, again, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and assume that you have some way to interact with those purge cards. So
exactly.
Or something that cares about purge cards. Something that cares about how many cards you have exiled or whatever. Anyway, yeah, I like this one. I'll give it a 5 out of 5 too. And that is our review of Conjure Into Existence. Thanks for watching.